what they have done. I mean, if you look, there aren't any artists anymore. I mean, there aren't any singers or guitarists doing anything. The last guitarist to do anything original, Buckethead, and that was back in the mid '90s to late '90s. He's still around. Last new sound of music that came out was in the mid '90s, early '90s. You know, last real innovation in rock music. Everything since has been pretty much, you know, similar stuff. There's a few underground things. I mean, there's some good bands. A few underground things, but not many even on the underground anymore. Not innovative like it used to be. And the major labels ain't. I mean, that's just rehashed shit. I mean, hell, songs from mid '90s could have come out yesterday. Some of them. I mean, they haven't made any progression at all. No innovation whatsoever. And the record companies will not work with artists. They aren't looking for them. You know, I put a bunch of my stuff in, and I know a bunch of great bands out there, much better than the stuff that the major labels are dealing with. And eventually they told me, look, you need to deal with, if you really want to work with us, you got to get a manager that we work with. And I got a list of managers they work with, and I researched, and every single one of them, the only acts they handle are acts who are already famous. It's a closed shop. They're not even bothering. They don't send scouts. They don't do shit. And I mean, you look at poetry. There's no famous poets anymore. Famous poetry died out with Ginsberg, basically. I mean, what makes poetry famous? Women love poetry at heart. They love poetry. They swoon over poetry. A man who's a poet, they used to, oh man, they'd swoon. And that's their natural inclination. Now it's not safe, because hell, Ginsberg, one of the last famous poets, was a queer. So now they're suspicious. Like, I don't want to open my heart to this guy like I'd like to, because he might be a goddamn fag. So there's no famous poets. Same thing with classical music, you know. Classical music, I mean, there was Tchaikovsky and Barber and Saint Saëns. Saint Saëns a fucking child molester. People playing his shit like it's the greatest thing on earth, disregarding the fact that he molested fucking kids. And it's, you know, it's causing rot. I mean, if you accept that sort of thing, I mean, don't pretend there's no superconscious. You know, don't pretend that these things don't permeate the social mind, because they do. And you know, so classical music, okay, yeah, it turned into a lot of dissonance and all this stuff, and you know, and anger and frustration and you know, dissonance. You know, I mean, a lot of it's good. It's good to express those things. It's good to be able to. But you know, there's very little melody. There's very little. You know, it hasn't been innovative. I mean, Jesus Christ. The last major development in music was Schoenberg, atonality. And Schoenberg's is old today, and people still think that's advanced. They still think atonality is advanced. And Schoenberg's is old today as Beethoven was to Schoenberg. There's been no advancement there either. You know? And where's the painters? There aren't any painters. There aren't any painters doing anything. There aren't any painters doing anything original, and nobody cares either. Because they had all this, you know, piss Christ, and, you know, people just, you know, basically all this shock art, and, you know, they got confused with aesthetics. You know, there's certain things in aesthetics, you know, like Penderecki's music. I love Penderecki. Penderecki's a great composer. Okay? Not beautiful, okay? But it's cool. It sounds real cool. See, they want to describe anything that's good as beautiful somehow. So they lose the meaning of beautiful. Don't say just because you like it, don't say it's beautiful. It's cool. It sounds real cool, but it certainly ain't beautiful. I mean, some of it, but I mean, you know, stuff like, you know, the Hiroshima, the Thronody, the victims of Hiroshima, that ain't beautiful at all. It's scary shit. But it's real cool. You know? And, So I mean, the meaning of beauty is disappeared, basically, to a degree.